process in Washington, I think, has raised the level of distrust with government to which I've never experienced before. The partisan intensity. One thing I'll note to you about this health care bill, and it was discussed in polls tonight when I was watching TV. The intensity level towards the people that dislike this bill is much greater than the intensity level for those who are supportive of it. What that means is that Republicans, because of the process, because of the end product of this bill, I think you're going to have good momentum coming into the polls. Win, lose, or draw as to how this bill shapes up. I believe it will pass tonight, and there will be some residual effects the Democrats are going to have to deal with. But I feel very strong that a Republican candidate for governor, for the state legislature, for local races, talking about reining in government spending, about sensible government, matched up with what Democrats are doing in Washington tonight, and what the Democrats here in Minnesota want to do if they win the governor's race, is going to do very, very well at the polls this year.
All right, my guest, Michael Brodkorb, the deputy chair of the Republican Party. We have to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have more with Michael Brodkorb. Good evening, everyone. Esme Murphy with you through 11 o'clock this evening, filling in for Geraldine Steele. We are monitoring the situation in Washington with the House poised to vote yes on an historic health care bill. My guest this half hour is Michael Brodkorb, the deputy chair of the Republican Party. You know, Michael, you were talking, and forgive me because I'm going to have to cut you off here because we are going to go in a couple of minutes to CBS News, but you were talking about how you feel with this vote that appears to be ready to pass, that Republicans are poised for big victories in November. Let me ask you about the Minnesota governor's race, because there is a candidate in an independent party candidate who is a former Republican, Tom Horner, who says he's running because the Republican Party doesn't have a home for moderates. His candidacy is almost certainly going to take votes away from the Republican candidate. How do you address that? Because that's a pretty big issue.
Well, first of all, I think it ultimately depends on the area of the state. I travel all across the state, and I'm as the deputy chair of the entire state with the Republicans. I work with Republicans all across the state from a variety that fall into a variety of spectrums inside the party. I think the debate that is going on inside our party today has never been more vibrant. It has never been more colorful. It has never been so intense. It is a great time to be a Republican in the state. As I said, travel all across the state, whether I'm in the heart of Minneapolis, whether I'm up on the 8th Congressional District, up on the Iron Range, across to the 7th, all across the state. We got good crowds, good response to all of our events. The intensity level has never been greater, and the debate that's going on inside our party from all across the political spectrum, I think, is robust and healthy.
All right, Michael, I'm going to have to cut you off here. Michael, I have to cut you off here. I apologize. We're going to come back with you after this, but we do have to get ready for a special report from CBS News. We are monitoring the situation in Washington here at WCCO, along with CBS News. The House of Representatives poised to take 2 key votes. If they pass these 2 votes, which they are expected to do later tonight, then the matter will go to the U.S. Senate and later to the President sometime, perhaps as soon as this week. And good evening, Esme Murphy with you. My guest, Michael Brodkorb, the deputy chair of the Republican Party. Before we went to that special report, Michael, you were talking about, going around and getting great feedback from around the base of the Republican Party. But what I want to ask you is there a home for moderate Republicans in the Minnesota Republican Party? Because you've got somebody like Tom Horner, a well-respected figure in Republican circles, who basically is saying, no, there's not. That's why he's running as an independent for governor, and a lot of people think he is going to hurt you guys.
Challenge his utmost respect for Tom Horner, but I'm going to challenge his premise that there's not a home for moderates inside the party. As I was saying before the break, it was great to hear Congressman Klein in the break there from CBS News. One of the things I would say, the debate inside our party all across the political spectrum, from Republicans in the heart of Minneapolis, downtown St. Paul, greater Minnesota, southern Minnesota, all across the state. It's robust. It's healthy. There's a great debate going on inside the party, a great discussion, and a good look at all the candidates running under the Republican banner. The reality is that I think from what I've read some of Mr. Horner's literature. There's a process on the on the Independence Party side. We'll see if he's the final candidate. But I think the discussion will be about raising taxes. And I think that's something I've heard IP candidates talking about and DFL party candidates talking about. And I think now is the worst time in this economy with what's going on in this state when we have to be attracting new businesses and new jobs. We shouldn't be raising taxes. I have the utmost respect for Tom and the other IP candidates, but the reality is that I think there's going to be one political party that's going to be looking at how state government functions, how it functions, how it's funded, how the role of taxes and how they relate to building a good economy and creating a private sector economy that grows jobs and makes Minnesota a magnet for new businesses. I think the Republican Party candidate all across the political spectrum will be the best candidate to talk about jobs and the economy.